Pastor Bill again, and another installment of We Are the Church, reminding ourselves that we are more than the building where we worship, but we are the people of God gathered together. Matthew 6:25 contains a verse in which Jesus says, "Don't be anxious about your life, what you'll eat or what you'll drink, or about your body, what you will wear." Jesus goes on to say we should look at the birds of the air who don't sow or reap or gather into barns, and yet God takes care to feed them every single day. And even in the midst of our anxiety now, if you step outside, you hear the birds singing because it's springtime. Aren't you worth more to God than a pigeon? God wants us to know how valuable we are. God wants us to know how beautiful we look when He looks upon us. He said, look at the lilies of the field. They don't spin, they don't toil, they don't race off to the store to get the best deals before everyone else or to clean out the best supplies before everyone else gets there. They're not racing to and fro. And yet Jesus said Solomon in all of his glory was never dressed up like a lily. And that's how God sees you when He looks at you. These are tough times, and they are filled with anxiety. The world is running around at Mach 10 with their hair on fire. And here we are, the church, called by God to draw closer to Him in a season when the world is distancing itself from one another. We can draw close to one another in our hearts by holding each other in prayer. We can draw closer to God by remembering to listen for God's still small voice every day of our life. And for listening to God, remind us that all the worry in the world could never add a single second to the span of our lives. We are safely in the palm of God's hand. Now, I know this time of being kind of locked up at home is going to get tedious after a while. People will call at first and check in on each other, and then they'll get busy looking after their own needs. And after a while, the calls will slow down, and the emails will stop for many of your neighbors. A lot of people are going to start to feel like that last kid to fall asleep at the slumber party. Everyone else is off having happy dreams, and you're laying there worried and alone and not at home, maybe for the first time in your life. Don't worry about those moments. Reach out to one another. Remember to be the church. Call each other and look after each other. And while you're at it, look after your neighbors too. The church has always been its best when the world is facing the worst. Throughout the ages, we're the ones who have heard the most important call of leadership that we can hear. And that is that whenever there's a fire, the leaders are the first one in and the last one out. So let us figure out how we can minister to the world. Use your phone, use the internet, reach out and touch somebody in any way you can. But above all, don't be anxious about your life. God knows who you are. God knows what you need. God has you safe in the palm of His hand, and God will see us through these moments. Take this time to sit with God, and His blessing be with all of us as we move through these days. Well, that's it for now. I'll see you again tomorrow, and remember, wash your hands and reach out and tell somebody you love them. God bless.